everybody. Today we're going to have a little play with the Janome My Excel 18W. So if you want to come have a look, this is the machine. So this machine was handed down to me by my mother-in-law, who I think she got a new machine, so she no longer needs this machine, but I couldn't let it go to waste, so I've decided to resurrect it. It is, I think, this particular model has been made for a long time, and I think they still make them today. You can still get them from the Janome website. It is a My Excel 18W, and it's made in Taiwan. It's a lovely old machine, so I'll give you guys a look at it and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the front view of the My Excel 18W. It's such a nice machine for an oldie. I have a test piece of fabric under here, and I'm going to do some test stitches just to see how it goes. I did replace the bobbin case, because you can see here the little black case there. The original one that was in it had worn out, and it wore a groove at the top part of it, which meant that the actual race that spins around was getting caught on it, so that wasn't good. So I got a new one. Well, I think it's a new one or a new refurbished one, and I'm pretty sure it cost me $20 for that. So it was relatively cheap, and I got that from my repair guy, Adam, from Proso, so that was great of him to have those. If we have a look here, standard affair with most Janome machines in this form factor. We have the little cubby pops off, so you can have your little cubby to put all your little tools, and it just snaps in here on the bottom here. There's a little bit of wear there where the little snap holds onto the little cubby. Bobbin cover, clear cover, so you can see how much thread you have left. This machine takes size 15 bobbins, typical size. The side cap here opens up so that you can replace the light globe. I am not sure what this little dangly thing is, but that's cool. I might have a little research and find out what this specific thing does, but yeah, don't know what that is. Here is the automatic button lever, so when you're doing the automatic button program, button hauler, it swings and tells the machine when to switch directions, I guess, like on most machines that have this feature. You've got your stitch selector guide up here, so that shows there's the button hauler, here's all your different stitches right up, and then to this side we have your stitch width selector, so from 0 up to 6. I'm assuming that is 6mm, or yeah, I'd say 6, potentially 7mm, but yeah, so up to 6. I think each one of those represents 1 mil of width. And then these ones here are also your stitch length. So you've got 0 and then buttonhole mode 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that will be your 4 mil length. So you just slide these controls up and down depending on what setting you want, and these little notches indicate which section. So this one for here, and then this one for there. So I was confused the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, which one's for what? And what numbers correspond to? Anyway, I got a little confused with that. So that's that. So I'm going to put that back to a 2.5. And we'll do the width to 0 because we're going to do a straight stitch to test. We can pop the lid up. Here's the stitch chart and guide. So buttonhole reset. After a buttonhole is sewn, move the indicator to pattern 1, which is that symbol. Then return it to buttonhole to reset for sewing the next buttonhole. Okay. Here we have the tension dial for the presser foot and tension discs for when you're winding a bobbin. That's where you hold the thread hold, where the thread or the spool sits inside. Here is your tension dial for your upper thread, needle holder, assorted feet, and then your bobbin spindle. And then on the side of the machine, so if I set you down here, your hand wheel. Now when you are using your hand wheel for bobbin winding, this part pulls out and that disengages the feed dogs and the needle. So that just wholly and solely allows the motor to run the hand wheel where the bobbin winder is connected to, but it does not allow the needle or the feed dogs to move. So that's great. So when you want to go back to sewing, you just push that back in. That's your stitch selector dial. And then underneath here, if you have issues with your stitch alignment, especially in your buttonhole, you've got a minus and a plus indicator, and then you can turn this to rectify your stitch position or your stitch alignment for buttonholing and some of the featured embroidery styles. You have your power switch or on-off switch, and then your plug connector right here, and then that's the motor vent, and then we'll show you the back. This is the back of the Janome My Excel 18W. Here you have your presser foot lift. So this machine actually has an extended height lift, so you can pop it down, pop it up, and for the extra lift you push it up just a little bit more. So that is so that you can get extra lift. You can add thicker projects. If you're doing quilting, you can fit your quilting sandwiches under there a lot easier with this extra lift, so that's great. Standard affair with the presser foot. You have a standard style presser foot, snap on, so you can press this little red button that drops the foot down, and when you want to quick change those feet, and then you put another foot on, and you can just snap that down in position, and now that foot's back on. The little black button here is also used to help guide the foot. So if you're going on an uneven surface, to keep the foot flat, you can push this little button in, so keeping the foot in a flat position, push this little button inwards, and this will stop the foot from rocking. And you can do that or use that to start off on an uneven part of your work. Underneath here we have the feed dog switch, which you can drop your feed dogs by sliding that across to this direction, and that allows for those feed dogs to drop, and then you can use then for darning, free motion quilting, or free motion embroidery when you don't, and use that for when you don't want to use the feed dogs. Buttonholing, fantastic feature for a machine to have that. Not all machines have that. Some have it in a digital way, if it is a computerized machine, but for a mechanical machine it is always welcome to have a feed dog switch or lever to drop those dogs when you don't need them. Okay, so we're going to test out some stitches. We have the selector in the straight stitch position, 0 width, because we're doing a straight stitch obviously, and a length of 2.5 on the length switch. So let's see how she goes for a straight stitch. Now I've put yellow thread so you can see the stitch much easier, and that way we can check the balance with other stitches that we do, as well as checking the tension and all those things. So let's try and see what she does. Forgot to mention, at the front of the machine, this is the reverse lever, so you push this while you're stitching and this will enable the machine to go in reverse, which I think all machines should have a reverse lever or some form of ability to reverse, so that way you can lock your stitches. So let's see if that works. So we push down the lever and no, seems like the reverse switch is not working, so that's a shame. We may need to take this machine apart and have a look why. So let's continue with some other stitches before we start dismantling this machine, but let's have a look at some other stitches, and then once we've done that, then we can proceed with the teardown. So as you can see, that first stitch is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. It looks, oh, that's terrible camera action. Okay, hang on. This is the straight stitch. It looks actually pretty good. The stitches look nice. And the back side, yeah, they look nice too. Some of these look a little wonky, but for the most part, all these stitches look actually pretty good. Alright, let's go and have a look at a zigzag. Okay, so we're going to do a zigzag. We will switch the selector to number 12, which is our zigzag stitch. And to check for timing and balance, we're going to do the widest zigzag possible, which is 6 or 6.5, which looks like here. And then we'll do a length of maybe 1.5. So we want them close, and that way that will really give us a good indication of the balance and the timing. So let's try that. Okay, not bad at all. The tension is fantastic. It looks good. The stitches look good. They don't look like they're pulling through to the other side. If I look on that side, it's even as well. So that's a good stitch. We're going to try this stitch right here. We'll see how that goes. Okay, occasionally I'm getting a waft of motor smell, so I don't know if this motor is on its way out. I feel like this machine seems to go quite slow. I don't know if it's, or if they're meant to be this slow, but I think I might just inspect that motor. I have had this machine apart once before when I first received it, just to get the motor going. Now that I've got the motor going, it's been sitting in my garage for probably a couple of years and I haven't really thought about it. But let's look at this stitch that I just did, which is that wheat looking stitch. So if I bring the camera over here, we've got the wheat. It's really good. It stitches really nice, like it's even. Yeah, it looks really good. Okay, and let's do one more. Let's go for all the way up to, I'd say, number 3. Number 3 looks really cool. So I'll show you on number 3. So that's number 3. And see what that looks like. That's actually a really cool stitch. I've never seen that one before, or never used that one before. So if I move you guys back over here, let's have a look. So that's what we started with, was this stitch up here. And see how they're all a bit further apart. So we got closer down to here. That was when I switched it to the right in the middle of the buttonhole number. Then I dropped it right down to 0. So that's what it looked like at 0. And then I moved it back up to the start of the buttonhole, and this is the stitch that it did. So that's really cool. I reckon if I did it just a little bit smidge closer to the 0, I reckon these little stitches would be a little bit more closer. But that looks really cool. A little disclaimer, I am not a professional when it comes to dismantling or touching the insides of a sewing machine. I just am mechanically minded, and I kind of know how things work. So I'm using skills that I've learned from fixing motor vehicles, that I'm employing that with the same technology as a sewing machine. So I kind of know what I'm doing, but at the same time, do not follow what I'm doing. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is not a tutorial, and I do not take any ownership of what you do at home. So kids, or anyone for that matter, take this with a grain of salt. This is literally just for entertainment purposes. So you're going to come and join me in seeing if we can get this old girl working a lot better than it did before.